Multiplying more than two numbers is going to be the topic of this video. We're going to show you how you do not have to have just two factors in a multiplication sentence, that you can actually have even more than that. And we're going to be using the number or the product of 36 in order to show you the different ways that you can make a multiplication sentence with more than two factors.
So if you look at this image of dots arranged in different groupings, we can see this in different ways. One way that I can look at this arrangement of dots is I can see three groups of 12 dots. This arrangement of dots can be written as the expression 3 times 12.
And right now that is just a factor pair because there's only a pair of factors, 1, 2.
We could also look at this a little bit differently. We could take the groups of 12 and we could say, well, within each of those groups of 12 there's actually 2 rows of 6. And you see those 2 rows of 6 3 times, so we could write the expression 3 times, and then we can use parentheses to show the 2 groups of 6, 2 times 6. Each group of 12 is made up of 2 groups of 6.
So originally we had the 3 times 12, and we ended up breaking down the 12 into 2 times 6. When you use parentheses in a problem, it is signaling that you need to do the items in the parentheses first. So when I see these parentheses, it tells me to do 2 times 6 first, and I got my 12, and then take that 12 and multiply it by 3, because that's actually what you see. You see 2 groups of 6, and then you look at the fact that that happened 3 separate times.
There's another way that we could look at this grouping of dots. We might see 4 dots in each group, and if we do that, there's actually 9 total groups with 4 in each. We could write that as the multiplication expression 9 times 4. We can also look at this expression 9 times 4 and see if we can break that down even further. Well, I know that 4 is actually 2 times 2, and I can see that with the groupings of the dots. There are 2 groups of 2 dots within each group of 4. So I can write that expression as 9 times, and then we would have our parentheses 2 times 2, showing that we broke the 4 down into the 2 times 2, and you would do that part of the multiplication expression first.
And then we take it and multiply it by the 9 as well, because there were a total of 9 groups in the beginning. So let's look at all the different ways that we can break down 36 into 2 factors, which we call factor pairs, 3 factors, and 4 factors.
So for 2 factors, we could say 2 times 18.
We can also do 3 times 12.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We can use 4 times 9. And also 6 times 6.
Okay, so now we're going to look at these and see if we can break them down a little bit more. So I'm going to keep the 2 on this first one, and then I'm going to break down the 18 into 2 times 9, because I know that if I were to draw 18 dots, I could break that into 2 groups of 9 or 9 groups of 2.
On the next one, I can break that down. I can do 3 times, and then I can break that 12 down into 2 times 6.
On the next one, I'm going to keep the 4, and then I'm going to break the 9 down into 3 groups of 3.
So for 6 times 6, I can actually break both of those 6's down. I can have an expression that has 4 factors. I could say 2 times 3 for one of the 6's, and then I can break down the other 6 and say that's times another 2 times 3.
When we broke this 6 times 6 down into 2 times 3 and 2 times 3, we were actually breaking it down into the longest multiplication expression that it could actually be broken down into. There's no other way to break it down. So I'm going to take this expression and I'm going to actually put the numbers in order from least to greatest. So I have 2, I have another 2, I have a 3, and another 3. So this right here is considered the longest multiplication expression for the 6 times 6.